Trick on the scroll down, tech reflected. Feel the code. Now you're being directed. Frank's world on your screen. I'm never alone. Insights in a stream in the digital zone. Frank's world on your screen. I'm never alone. Insights in a stream.
Well, hello, LinkedIn, X, Twitch, Facebook, and of course, the ever-present and wonderful YouTube. My name is Frank Lavinia, and as you can tell, got everything hooked up again. Very excited. I do this thing where every once in a while I'll move my office around. Gives me a chance to kind of clean up, rewire things, because usually I have a whole mess of wires, and kind of clean things up, change out the shelves and stuff like that, change out the decorations. I actually already have a little Christmas tree back there. But today, a couple things are going on. Well, first off, this is my new work machine. Laptop is so new, no stickers yet. Although I do have a couple of Red Hat stickers, as well as debating whether or not I should use this one in the corner. There's also, I thought this was very appropriate for teaching and machine learning. And also I found this one. Drop a comment if you know who this guy is. Drop a comment or a chat if you know who this guy is. I might put him on here. So with that in mind, a couple things going on. OpenShift Commons is taking place today, or this week, in Salt Lake City. Let me see if I can share my screen. Still getting used to the new UI here. On let me see, make sure my audio is working. Good. I have mixed feelings about the new Studio AI that Restream has. OpenShift Commons is going on. Or what happened this week. Gatherings were actually upcoming gatherings. Well, apparently it already happened. No. Monday, November 6th. That's 2023. All right, so this may not be the most updated one, but as far as I knew, there was an OpenShift Commons happening the other day, and got some interesting pictures on LinkedIn and things like that. So I thought it'd be worth noting that. OpenShift Commons is basically kind of this event that is usually attached to another event, like All Things Open in Raleigh or KubeCon. They usually, it's like a pre-con. It's free, and it's really focusing on the open source community aspect of things. If you go over to franksworld.com, I should have it changed so the little graphic up there. I'm trying to turn this into more like a little news studio, right? Like where actually hang on, where you see that little graphic there. I'm still working on that. I'm still working on it, trying to make the most of all the monitors. I got the Matrix screensaver. I got this. If you go here, OpenShift Commons. This was recently. This was just the other day. Where they're talking to virtualization with NYU. Very interesting video, very interesting thing there, post that I wrote. So I figured I'd point that out. Secondly, I want to share with you a little thing called Docling. Docling is basically a way to get your documents ready for training with generative AI. Let me switch this around. It's an open source project. Not only that, it actually ended up being the top repo of the day the other day. So kudos to the team. This is a joint effort through the community, IBM, and Red Hat. And there's a really nice little thing here by William Caban. That is a good blog post talking about this. And it worked out really well. I did some playing around with Docling for a recent training event. It was actually pretty cool. It was very, very nicely done. Speaking of training, I am training actually on that laptop there, I trained a large language model that was an expert in all things Frank's world history. Uh, just wanted to see how you can use Instruct Lab and how it works, things like that. And definitely will do a live stream deep diving on that in the near future. I actually have a model that was trained on some heavier hardware. Let's see if I can pull that down here and go back to this. So this is the model here. Gave me 3 safe tensor files. Altogether, I think it equates to 12.5 gig. This is a model that's based on Instruct Lab, which itself is based on Granite. And as soon as I get this up and running and tested, I will show you. But I think it's really cool that I was able to kind of train the model and push it off to some heavy-handed hardware. And let's see. And then get that going. I'm looking forward to doing that. I'm actually thinking about updating the site, the chatbot on the website on franksworld.com. That was made many moons ago. That chatbot is more of a like a pre-LLM generation of chatbot, so it's not really up to snuff. And if you look at other things like other types of devices that are out there, the technology has really moved on in terms of the language processing and things like that, but the actual interfaces on devices like Alexa have not really moved on. Oh, she didn't activate. There is something I have on the newer Mac, and I don't know if I installed it on my personal Mac, is this idea of Apple Intelligence. I know it's installed here. I haven't really noticed a massive difference. It's still Siri. It's still the same voice of Siri. The requests are more or less the same. Now, in fairness, I haven't really put it through its paces. I ask it basic questions about, what the weather is. That's just a habit I'm into with Siri. I haven't asked it any GPT or next generation questions. I will say, I have this here, and if I ask it a question, and I'm going to put it close to me just to make sure that it answers it. Alexa, who is Aerosmith?
Aerosmith is an American rock band formed in Boston in 1970. The group consists of Steven Tyler, Joe Perry, Tom Hamilton, Joey
All right, so you see I'm getting
and Brad Whitford.
There's a point to this. Alexa, what was their first album?
Aerosmith's first album was Aerosmith, which was released in 1973.
Okay, so it got that right. So it wasn't always the case. So you would ask it a question about a particular artist, and then it would give you the correct. It would understand that context from query to query. There is apparently a group that did have an album called First Album, and it would always recite that. I think it might have been the Flaming Lips or Electric Light Orchestra. I forget. Alexa, what was the album?
Sorry, something went wrong.
Alexa, who made the album First Album?
An album, in ancient Rome, was a board chalked or painted white, on which decrees, edicts, and other public notices were.
So she's still not perfect, but it is showing you but there are expectations as users, because I can go to ChatGPT, I can or Claude or Granite or any of these models, and I can ask it questions, and it has a better understanding of what I'm saying. And I think ultimately, when the dust settles on this era that we're in, on this hype era or whatever, I think the dust is going to show that the real magic here isn't the creation of new text, isn't the creation of generative AI. The real magic is language understanding, right? Because language is really like the interoperability language. That sounds really weird, but language is really that interop layer between persons, between entities, between institutions, right? Legal contracts and things like that. Natural language. So for the ability to understand that as a machine and kind of port that concept and understand it and give it a legal document and ask it specific questions, I think is transformative in ways I don't think we can really get our heads around yet. Yeah, it's nice I can ask it to write a Shakespearean sonnet about OpenShift or laptop stickers. By the way, it's always that first laptop sticker that it's just so hard, right? So this is an older machine. Definitely some Microsoft tech here, but I had fun with it, right? This is the Maryland state flag, not the paw, but the pattern, right? It's kind of a Maryland thing. This is Expanse. This is an homage to Bruce Lee, the man who just was always about self-improvement. There's obviously the Python logo. This is our data thing that I designed. And I just saw this artwork by Banksy, and I put it underneath a panda sticker. There's also some references to Rick and Morty. It's always that first one. So when I got this Mac, I got it in one of these cases, right? For the longest time, I didn't have a sticker on it. So finally, I found this here, Mars, but in the NASA style. I figured I'd have some fun with it. So it's always that first sticker that you kind of like delay on. And then actually my old laptop, I had no stickers on that at all. I just kept it plain. But I don't know, just a little fun thing. And as these conferences start up again and things start happening, we can kind of do that. Oh, I have a dingo here. While I have everyone here, I would like to point out that, and if you're interested, I'm gonna go through a more of a thing here. I will see if can I zoom in on this picture. I can zoom in on this picture. Awesome. All right, so I'm gonna share that again. I'm kind of proud. A little bit of flex, just a little. Those are the numbers for Frank's World over the last few years. Sadly, there is a downward trend, but I anticipate sometime this month I'll hit 2 million impressions for the year. It still gives me another month or two, but you'll see 2021 was definitely the highlight here. 3.7 million page views. I suspect I know why that is. I have some theories. I think part of it was the way I structured the blog. There were definitely some SEO stuff I really wasn't taking seriously. It was not looking about midway through this year. I changed up some things, and I had from the month to month, which I don't have broken out in the screenshot. I have noticed an upward trend, right? So, and you'll know that I am literally very data driven. In fact, I think yesterday, I think the number of page views I had on the site was closer to 12,000, which is a good day. An average day would be 6 to 8, maybe, but 11,000 is pretty good. So definitely going to be doing more of what I did yesterday. But let's see. Getting some chats here. Yes, those are good numbers nonetheless. But just seeing it kind of go down, even though it was phenomenal and it's still good, was also a thing. I suspect that I was late to the game. I was late to the party when it comes to. I was late to the party when it comes to adding an SSL certificate to my site. So now it actually does have that. Data driven was down also for a while. The podcast feed always worked. But I'm very proud of the numbers. As you know, Andy and I kind of. Oh, the connection got lost. As I was coughing, the connection was lost. So I don't know. Maybe there was doing something to do with that. One of these days, I want to do like a studio tour. You'll notice I have artwork and things like that. Each one of these is a particular meeting. I have my little voice activated thingy there. But also, as a survivor of the Trade Center, that's always behind me. And it's a reminder of if I can survive that, I can pretty much survive anything. As well as some other artwork and stuff. Got the Christmas tree, got a few other things we're going to hang up. But it's those wires, man. I got to organize those wires. So, excuse me. A little too late in the year to have pollen, but there is a sickness floating around the house. One more thing. I did promise to talk about this in a previous stream, but I was sent this free copy, this evaluation and review copy of Dancing with Qubits. And if it is you don't know, or if you tuned in recently, you know I kind of have this fascination with quantum computing. There is still technically the podcast that does still exist. Just, we haven't launched season 3 yet. But really good explanation of kind of the math behind it or the algorithms behind it, the history of it. Really a good introduction to the whole thing. One of the best I've actually seen thus far. If you, it really, I find it to be a relatively gentle introduction to the math behind it. You know, obviously once you get, further in, it gets a little wild. But if you're working with LLMs, there's nothing in here that's truly going to frighten you. If you look here, this would be indistinguishable from kind of a academic paper on LLMs and matrices and things like that. I'm going to mute because I got a cough. Wow, that was something. Highly recommend this book. Highly recommend this book. Dancing with Qubits, really good stuff. I'm only into like chapter 3. And it's really, really good. It's a set theory and things like that. A good primer on it, right? Up till now, there's probably like 3 books you had to read, but this seems to have a lot of it. Again, not for the timid in terms of math, but definitely way more approachable than I've seen this topic been so far. With that in mind, we are going to start up the podcast again, Impact Quantum. We had to sort out our scheduling system, which was based on Microsoft Bookings. And Microsoft Bookings has its pluses and its minuses. For the most part, it works now. We had a number of issues with it. And yes, I know you're saying, hey, Frank, why not just use Calendly? Well, yes, I could use Calendly, but for a number of reasons, I wanted to keep it all inside of Teams because I do have that Office tenant that I have that I kind of have this whole workflow. I can set up processes and app flows and Power Apps and things like that, which is really, I think, important. It really doesn't matter, right? Like, I used to be very, I'll do a miniature studio tour. But if you look here, you'll see that one of the license plate there says tablet. And I used to be a tablet PC MVP before joining Microsoft. And I was doing stuff that, the iPad could do, but about 6 years before the iPad. Now, for reasons many large and small, the tablet PC platform never really caught on quite the way that the iPad has. So that did kind of prove that, yes, I was right about the general popularity of the platform, but not necessarily the individual, entrant into the race. So ever since then, and obviously the disaster that was Windows Phone, ever since then, I've been very conscious of focus on the problem you're trying to solve, not the particular technology. Did I love Windows Phone? Absolutely. I mean, WPF, XAML, Silverlight, all really great UI frameworks. But people want a single, you're just painting glass at that point. And I think I heard that phrase originally from Steve Presley, great community guy from the Richmond area, where you're just painting glass, right? It really doesn't matter. How that happens, as far as the user is concerned, is largely irrelevant. And as far as your consumption and things like that is largely irrelevant. It's really more about building and supporting that pane of glass. And that, I take heart to that, now in terms of, when you're dealing with AI, right? Does it really matter what language model you're using as a base? I mentioned ChatGPT, I mentioned OpenAI quite a bit because I do tend to default to that. But I also have a subscription to Grok and to Claude, and obviously I have access to, running models locally on Olama and pulling down Granite and working on Granite on that server, which is actually right here. Um, it's about the problem you're trying to solve, not necessarily about the particular technology. That having been said, there are certain technologies that are much better at solving certain types of problems. Instruct Lab, I think, is a good example, right? The goal of Instruct Lab is to make fine-tuning these LLMs easier. And it's certainly not the only game in town. There's a number of ways, number of other things that are out there. But in terms of, the power and flexibility and closeness to open source and indemnification that you get, I think I'm happy with it. I'm proud of it. So with that, realize I've been streaming for like 20 minutes and holding back a lot of sneezing, which I know no one wants to see that. Wants to see me sneezing on a live stream or at all, really. But back to the topic at hand, definitely go check out Docling. It's here at that URL, which let me make a caption for it. There you go. You can check it out there. Docling. But they really messed with my branding and colors here. I might be in the process of shopping for a new streaming platform. Don't get me wrong, I like Restream. A lot of good things about it, but this new interface, I'm not so sure about. So with that, I'm going to end the sharing of the screen. Let me know in the comments below. First off, contest. Maybe I'll give away something. I don't know. Who is this guy? And what show is he from? And should I put it on my laptop? I actually have a space right here for him. This is my Windows 10 machine, dual boots into Linux Mint. And on a future stream, I will rant once more about the end of life support for Windows 10. And if you look around me, I have a lot of metal here, a lot of stuff here. And really, I only have one machine that I'm running Windows 11 on now, and that's this machine, right? Now, there's a lot of things I like about Windows 11, don't get me wrong, but I also think it's not fully finished. There's a lot of things I don't like about it. The TPM 2.0 chip probably being chief among them, which basically invalidates all but one PC in my house. That does not sit well with me. I'm just thinking about the e-waste, the cost to it. Fortunately, I've booted into Ubuntu and Fedora, and they all recognize the 6 monitors. Not a problem. That's my plan going forward. Mint, I believe, with some tweaking, was able to also see all those 6 monitors. So, yeah. Plus, if I need software like Office or Adobe Suite, I do have the Macs. The M chips are amazing. The low power ability is just off the charts crazy. I probably should do a live stream now because it's been about 2 years since I had bought that little Mac there. One of the best purchases I ever made, particularly when I travel. The battery life on that thing is impressive. And the dogs are now barking, so I may have to go soon. But I think this should be a wake-up call for Microsoft. I'm no longer an MVP anymore. I don't think me making fun of Windows 11 is really the reason. We did a previous stream on that. But I'm really disappointed in how Windows 11 has evolved. Right, the UI niceties are there, but the taskbar was completely rewritten. It's really the TPM chip. I will say something very positive about Windows 11 is that the integration with WSL is far tighter and far much better. Let me know in the comments below if you want to see me do a video on WSL. WSL is pretty epic, actually. So I'm one of the few people on my team, actually the only person on my new team, that is definitely kind of a Windows guy. Now, I have the Mac, there's things that, I like them all, right? Like, and that was one of the things was talking to somebody over the weekend about how, you have to pick one, the Android world or the iOS world. And I very intentionally do not stay in one lane anymore. Again, lessons learned from the Windows Phone debacle, right? Everything I had was Windows. That was not really a great strategy. So I have an Android phone. I have, iPad tablets. I have a couple of. My wife has a Android tablet. I have a Kindle tablet. Um, but I also have Mac and Linux now, right? So like basically anything I can run, and the challenge and the fun part is actually getting them to talk to one another, right? So one of the things that I do, which I think has amused and alarmed some people at work, is I'll have the Mac here, but I'll SSH into it from Windows, and I'll have multiple terminals go into it. I can, when I'm walking around the house or like at a cafe, I'll use remote desktop on, which I think now they call it the Windows app on the Mac, and I'll remote into that. So I'll be able to do, I think it really doesn't matter. I think ultimately it's about the problem you're trying to solve, right? This is excellent hardware for training large language models, serving models. The speed at which I can talk to Olama on this thing, and models running under Olama on this thing, is impressive. Way better than my humble refurb server. Um, Training models on that. It's just really, mobility. You can't beat the M2 Mac for the lifespan on it. Obviously, the battery, the battery on this is not as impressive because the screen's bigger, and two, mostly I've been training models on it, and nothing can chew through a battery quite like doing that. So with that, I'm going to end the stream. Let me know in the comments below what you'd like to see me cover. I did try to get Andy on the call, but he is a busy man, busy man. And you have a great day.